Hi there. How are you today? I would like to just come in and talk about scripture that we can stand on. We're not going to be around very long. As a matter of fact, if you can just give me, let's say 10 minutes. Let's talk for about 10 minutes. And man, what a week. It's been quite a week. Life is definitely not all cinnamon rolls and sunshine. People are panicking. Peace is tough. But it can still be well with our soul. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So if you don't have time and you just want to step away for a few, then that'll be fine. But if you want to stay around and join me, I would love just to share for about 10 minutes. I was, I have in the past week totally moved. My siblings and I have totally moved our mom, completely out of her home. She sold her house in 6 days, so it went rather quickly, and we had to have everything out. So life became a blur. We weren't really watching the news because we had other things that we had to do at the moment, priorities. Not that we weren't seeing what was going on, because we were. But in the midst of all that, what we were seeing and what I was seeing was people saying, "Oh no, things have gotten so bad and things are happening. What in the world are we going to do?" Well, the best post that I saw, and the little time that I was on Facebook in the past few days, because we have been helping clean up and clear out, and waving goodbye at your home place is tough. So, the best thing that I saw on Facebook regarding everything that has been going on was by a friend of mine. She's an Alaska friend of mine. Her name is Makisha Smith. I am going to put a link to her in the comments because Makisha is amazing. But she had the best post that I saw. And so I'm going to share a little bit of it with you today. But first, let me introduce Makisha to you. Makisha is the wife of a coffee smith. She's the mother of four beautiful girls. She's the seeker of beauty, the speaker of truth, and she is a hope writer. And so when people said, "Oh my gosh, what are we going to do?" This was Makisha's point of view. She said, "Stop. Take a breath. Take a deep breath." For many of us, we need to stop and take a deep breath. I'm in Texas, and we just had this major snow storm. We got 5 inches of snow, and you don't see that kind of thing in my part of Texas. As a matter of fact, my nephew, who's 8 years old, has never seen snow. This was his very first time to build a snowman. Those little things like that are what we've been doing in the last few days. We had no electricity, so therefore there was no TV, there was no internet, there was none of that, because we live what most people call in the boondocks. But I will tell you, it's kind of been nice to be still. But let me go back for a moment and talk about what Makisha said. She said, "Stop, take a deep breath." If you are a Christian, your love for God is not going to be threatened by your ability to post or not post online about it. That's the truth. If we're a Christian, our love for God is not going to be threatened by whether we can post online or not, or whether it gets taken down. Daniel didn't stop praying just because someone made a law forbidding it. He continued to pray because it was his custom, not an act of defiance. Besides, if people don't know us in real life and they haven't seen our love for God, our heart for Jesus, our peace that surpasses all understanding, all those brave words that we write online, they're really worthless, aren't they? We have to walk the walk and talk the talk. And if we don't walk the talk and talk the walk, then it really just doesn't mean a whole lot to people. So, what do people see when they look at us? Do they see panic or do they see peace? So, what Makisha says is that we need to invest in real life, the things that won't change. Yes, we are in the midst of things that are changing, but some things will never change, like my priorities, um, my faithful love towards my husband Davis, the way I try desperately to love people. And the best news of all is that God is still good. He is still powerful. He is still the rescuer, and his abilities to sustain and keep us through every season of our life still happens. If God were only a fair weather friend, Makisha says, she'd be alarmed right now, but she's not, because he's not. His faithfulness extends to every generation, and that means to our generation as well. I love Makisha, and you're going to love her too. Makisha Smith on Facebook, wife of a coffee smith, a beautiful lady inside and out who has a heart for Jesus. And like I said, I will tag her in the comments in a little bit. But let's love the Lord our God with all of our heart, all of our soul, and all of our mind, regardless of what goes on around us. Let's be still and know that He is God. If we break that up, what does be still actually mean, Tammy? Well, and I'm talking to myself here. I'm not pointing a finger at you because I'd be pointing three back at me. Okay, but be still means no screaming, no negative comments. Stop arguing. Stop debating. Just stop talking for a little while. Stop posting for a short time and just listen. Be still. That's what God says. Be still. And the next part of that verse says, and know. What do we know? Let's lean on the scriptures that we definitely know. And don't let your faith flatline. When everything else seems to be falling apart, the one thing that should stay intact is your faith, because you were created for such a time as this. God knew all of this was going to happen, and He knew that we were going to be the people here when it happened. So let's walk, let's talk like faith filled Christians, not people who fight and debate and scream and holler and yell and say negative things and do name calling. That's really not ever going to be in our best interest, I can assure you. So whenever he says and no, we've gone over be still and no. Like I said, don't let your faith flatline. There's no need to get a second opinion. There's really not, because this opinion is the best opinion. What you will find in these pages is the best opinion, the only opinion that truly matters. So God is God, and God never changes. His hope cannot be extinguished. He created it. He created you for such a time as this, and He's going to lead us. He's going to give us wisdom, because His word says, if you need wisdom, ask for it. He says that in James. So let's ask for it daily. He will protect us. He will restore us, and ultimately, He will save us. Now, some of you are going, well, that sounds all good, Tammy, but are we going to go through tough times? Does that mean that we're going to go through tough times? Yes. Yes. Does that mean we might suffer? Absolutely. But will this all at some point end and we're heaven bound? You better believe it. Christians, we were made for such a time as this. So let's stand up to the task. Let's be who we're supposed to be. Let's show people what we're supposed to show people. Psalm 23:3. There's two different versions, and I like both of them. One version says, He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right paths for His name's sake, not our namesake. this all is not about us. It's all about Him. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right path for His namesake. Another version says it this way: He renews my strength. He guides me along right paths, bringing honor to His name. Do you need strength? Do you need to be restored, refreshed, and renewed because of all you're going through? Then be still and know that He is God. And from this day forward, let's live in a forward direction. Run the race with endurance, not with grievance. Let's run the race with endurance. Thank you so much for being with me today. I've missed you. And just know that there is more power in prayer than we can even imagine. And so let's don't get so wrapped up in the panic that we forget to pray. Let's don't get so wrapped up in the panic that we can't have peace that surpasses all understanding. And let's don't get so wrapped up in the panic that what people see in us is something they don't want. Tipping my coffee cup at you now. Have a great week, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.